DC there. Hi, guys and gals. Yes, I just checked quickly if it was running. Well, I hope you're all well. Today is Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday. So it's hump day, and yes, I'm in the kitchen doing the vlog because there was a bit of rain. Now it's better, but there was a bit of rain. I thought at first of vlogging on the way back from work, but finally I decided I'll vlog once home. Mrs. DC is out working. Seems to me I'm always vlogging when she's out working these days, but that's just the way it is. So last week was Valentine's Day, and I'm not actually going to vlog about that, but indirectly, my little Valentine's card that I had copied for Mrs. DC, from these old school Valentine cards, which was, a couple on the phone. You probably all remember first these old Valentine's Day, but also the actual phone. Nobody knows what a phone like that is anymore. But anyway, what I'm vlogging is I saw something. It was in the New York Times, I believe it was, yeah. In a section that was called "You're Not Listening, and Here's Why." And it was actually, when was that? It was in February 11th, so it was a little while back. It was before Valentine's Day. Maybe that's why they pulled it out. Anyway, but it's quite an interesting topic. And it's a bit, with the difference of what we've often talked about, maybe in other vlogs, about the difference between listening and hearing, or hearing and listening, I should say, And I'll just read one or two bits and we can chat about it as we go along. But there's an unconscious tendency to tune out people and tune out the people you feel close to because you think that you already know what they're going to say. And, there's these comments you've probably heard, or I've said or heard myself. You're not listening? Let me finish. That's not what I said. And, and so actually what the article says is that after the words, "I love you," these are probably the most common things that couples in close relationships tend to say. And they would say that, so the author said that on her 2 years of researching a book on listening and communication, found that ironically, the interpersonal communication was a lot worse between closer people that were close to themselves than actually people that were distant. And one of the reasons, of course, is that we take for granted, this is coffee in case you're wondering, we tend to take for granted often what the other person's going to say, and like I said in the beginning, we're just so used to it that we feel that we know, when often we don't actually know. And they made studies actually showing, where they had subjects or topics that the persons were given, and studying people that were couples or close, and people that were strangers one another, and the quality of the communication, the quality of passing on the message. And surprise, surprise, very often, it was better with the strangers. And actually, this is not only like a question of romantic couples, it's also a question of parent-children, which is in a way, the parents tend to feel that they know what the children are going to say, and how often do teenagers feel that they know what their parents are going to say. But it goes the other way around, So that was quite an interesting little thing. Then there was another topic where there was this man who thought, he really knew what his wife wanted for a gift, and but he forgot, to check up how she was feeling at the, around that period. She was going through a hard time at work, I think, or something like that. And anyway, there was maybe depression had set in a little bit, or something like that. And so finally, it really was a complete flop, because the person thought he knew absolutely what his wife would want, and that was not the case. So I'm just not trying to read the whole article, of course, but there were one things, like I mentioned, we have to kind of learn to do a little bit more than just everyday talk. I mean, everyday talk, like how are things, what'd you do today, what was in the mail, things like that. I mean, that's just a normal talk. But basically, it's also saying, how are you, and actually listening. That's probably something, we all have to learn a little bit, I guess. And what was it, one was here I wrote down as well, is that what often gets left out is what is really on people's minds. Their little joys or struggles and fears. I think actually sometimes the fears, when we talk about work, sometimes, we say the same things. And the person, kind of closes up. And then, to bring up an issue at work and you weren't probably listening when they were actually talking about it. And realize that, well, it's okay, but it's not and it's a big deal, especially if it's something at work. Often it's a big deal. So I mean, they were just mentioning again that people keep conversation light with friends and family because they assume that they already know what's going on, but forget actually that, there might be something more going on. So sometimes in a conversation to go in deeper, things like that. Was there anything else? Oh yeah, we're talking, of course, about technology. And the technology doesn't help because it's a constant distraction, on the cell phone. But the thing is that they were saying is that people, of course, don't write as much as what they would say very often. Some people do. You'll notice that. But some people don't. And what will happen is that it's completely inaccurate because they're not saying enough and you're not getting the cues. You're not also getting the emotional cues because you're reading and not watching the person. I mean, we don't do videos anymore. Remember, people? Most of you are just writing right now. Anyway, that's just a small thing, but it's actually true. Writing is different, Like I said, what exactly does a smiley face with its tongue sticking out mean? You know what I mean in that respect. So like they say, it probably turns out, and I think all of us would say that actually, it actually turns out that to really understand those closest to us is to spend some time with them, to put down your phones and actually listen what they have to say. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that actually speaks for video chats. Okay, we're having a kind of a one-way video chat, but when you're close to somebody but you live far away, as is often the case today, and that's why technology seems really so great, but technology does permit us often to have real chats, seeing people's faces, seeing their emotions. So it was a quite interesting article I found. You're not listening and here's why. February 11th, 2020. It was by somebody called Kate Murphy. And I made a copy paste here, so I don't remember which section it was in. But I mean, it would be very easy to find, I suppose, just by typing in "you're not listening, here's why." But spoke to me quite a bit because I just read it, at the time, slightly before Valentine's Day. And thought, well, that's true. Quality time. That's basically what it gets down to, quality time. And quality time means not only taking time and doing things, but taking time to hear and listen. Yeah. Boy, got a lot to learn still. Yeah, so that was DC's sermon of the week. Yeah, I found it was a good article. As every now and then I just pull out an article and I just chat about it. So that's all. I will stop there because I'm up to 9 minutes. So it'll be DC signing off. Take care, everybody.